Hey, Drew here. Hope you're having a great day. Wanted to share with you the answer to a question that I've been getting a lot lately from my clients, which is how do we develop leaders in our organization? We've got growing organizations, you got companies that are expanding, that are doing great things, and there's a gap between what they want to do and what they're able to do based on the leaders that they have in their organization. So often people want to find these pre-made leaders. They want to find people that are ready to go, ready to jump right in and take over an area of responsibility. But the reality is those are few and far between, and the great organizations develop leaders. They create leaders within that organization. And so often, there's two different ways that people go about it. What I found, if you're like most leaders in an organization, if you're like most business owners, you either are the type that sits back and you say, hey, the people that want to excel as a leader, they'll take action because that's what I did. And that helped me get to where I am today, right? Hey, some of you, about 50% of you are saying, yeah, that's it. That's the way, right? Well, then there's another 50% of you that are saying, we need to have a program step by step, like an internship where every day there's milestones. Every week we have to create this huge library of content. We have to record videos. We have to do all this stuff. And until we do that, we don't really have a leadership process, because that's what worked for me. And that's where I got to where I am today, right? Probably half of you said, yes, that's me. That's me. Well, the reality is you don't have to do either. And you can do both, right? So here's the reality of it. The first thing that you have to do, Stephen Covey, the great thinker, management, leadership guru of a past era, said this in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said, you must begin with the end in mind. And let me tell you why this matters so much when it comes to leadership development. With leadership development, develop a program. That's great. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I'd love to help you do that. It's something I do. But you don't have to wait to start the process until then. And the flip side of it is I wouldn't leave people, throw them in the deep end, right, type thing, and let them sink or swim, or let them rise to the occasion. That worked for me. It probably worked for half of you watching this, but it doesn't seem to be working for folks that I talk to that are trying to do that model. They do not see the response from people that they're hoping to get. And that could be from a number of reasons, but I think the number one reason is that the individuals on your team that you want to see grow up and become leaders, maybe you see some potential in them, maybe you've spoken to it, you shared with them, but you haven't really seen movement, or you haven't seen action, or they don't want to take action on the podcast that you like, or they don't like the book that you read, or whatever the case is. You don't see the interaction that you want to see from them. It might be that they don't have a clear picture on how to be a successful leader within your organization. Have you created that picture? And that's really where I want to go today. I want to share with you what I've been doing with my clients and give you a roadmap briefly on how you can do this in your organization. And what I just call it is the ideal leader. What is the ideal leader in our organization? Have you defined that? If you have defined it, have you gotten the message out about it? Right? First step, you got to define what that avatar is, maybe is the word we want to use. What is that avatar for our organization? What does that ideal leader look like? What are the character qualities? What are the competencies? What are the chemistry items to be successful in our organization? This will also help you if you do find that gem, that person that has leadership experience, and maybe you think, hey, we can bring them right in to the organization as a leader. This will help you figure out and determine if you can bring them right in as a leader in your organization, or what gaps there are that you need to come up with in order to bring them into the organization as a leader. Many times you probably brought people into your organization that they have the character, right? They got good character. They're in alignment with your character in the organization. They've got competencies. They got all the experience in the world. But man, the chemistry piece, they don't fit. They rub people the wrong way is maybe how we say it, or I just don't like them, or they're too harsh, or they're too nice, or whatever the case is. They don't fit in the chemistry of our organization. Ultimately, they wash out of the organization. Either they leave or we have to let them go. When they had so much potential in the interview, what was the problem there? Well, the chemistry item. You did not account for chemistry in your organization. So I already alluded to it. Let me tell you the 3 items that I want you to create your ideal leader for your organization on. And it's number 1, character. What are those character qualities that are non-negotiables in your organization? You might start out, this is what I do with my clients, you might start out with the 20 items or so, character qualities that you want them to have. Let me give you a couple. Loyalty might be something that you hold high in your organization. Commitment. Being bound emotionally or intellectually to a course of action and dedication, right? We want committed people in our organization. Integrity is always a good one. Accountability. They're accountable for their actions. Growth. We want a character quality, something that we want to see in our people is they have to have a value for growing, constantly growing as an individual. Fairness. They need to be fair. They need to know and shoot down the middle and be fair. If they treat one person this way, they need to treat the other person this way as well. That's something we value in our organization. Honesty and trust. Now, you'd probably say all those are great. All those are great for the organization. Yet, you need to get your organization down to the top 4 or 5 in your organization because all of those are great. And you could use any one of them. But which ones are most important to you in your organization? Pick 4 or 5. And obviously the list can go on from there, but character, right? I want you to start with character. What are those character qualities? And you as the business owner can sit down and do this, or maybe you take some of your key leaders in the organization, or maybe someone that's not even in leadership, but they know the organization very well. Maybe they're a trusted confidant to you, a spouse, a close friend. Maybe they've just been in the organization for a long time. They could be your personal assistant for the last 20 years. They never took a leadership role, but they know you and they know the organization very well. They're a trusted confidant. Bring them in the meeting and determine for your organization what the character qualities are. Next, we want to look at competencies. Now, obviously, there are certain competencies we need to have. Maybe they need to, maybe you value a college education. Maybe in your area of expertise, they have to have certain certifications, whether it's accounting or being a CPA or having a law degree or whatever the case is, right? There has to be certain competencies. Maybe they need some certification. Maybe they need a certain number of years of experience to be competent. And I'm not talking about they know how to count down a cash register, right, and close out for the day. No. I'm not talking about those kind of competencies. I'm talking about what are the competencies that you're looking for in a leader in your organization. A couple might be, hey, we really value creativity and innovation. They need to be able to solve problems in the organization creatively and come up with fresh ideas all the time. Or maybe it's just problem solving. It might be independence. We need them to be independent in their work. They're going to have to work alone. They're going to have to solve problems a lot. Without being able to phone a friend, reach out to other leaders. And so they need to be able to lead their team and make decisions independent of others. Wisdom, we might want them to have deep understanding and insight and knowledge, the ability to make good judgments, right? I'm reading off some cards right now. This is a tool that I use with my clients. Balance. We want there to be a competency. We want them to be competent in balancing what is most important now in the organization. You can call that decision making, but whatever the case, right? You can call it whatever you want, and you can define it however you want is the key thing because this is your organization. And so you are defining the ideal leader for your organization. And let me tell you once again, why are we doing this? Because, oh my goodness, this is the goal. I can't believe I didn't say this already. The reason why we want to define the ideal leader in our organization is if you define and you put out here, this is what we're looking for as an organization. This is what we want our leaders to be competent in as an organization. When you define that, now the people on your team can work towards achieving that and becoming the avatar, the defined person. They can work on becoming that in their own time, in their own way. There might be a certain podcast, a certain YouTube channel like Drew T. Jackson, right? There might be a certain book or resource that resonates with them that achieves the goal that you're looking for them to be this type of leader, to have these competencies, to have these character qualities, to have this kind of chemistry item. But you're not having to provide them with all the resources along the way. So that is the true goal, is once you define it, now they can work towards it on their own time, in their own way, and get there. And you can help them along the way, of course. I encourage that. But they'll get there so much faster if they know where they're trying to go. They have a map, a roadmap, right? All right, simplicity. That might be a competency or urgency in your organization. Okay, let's move on. Last one, chemistry. Probably the most overlooked one, chemistry. We can look at someone's resume. We can figure out, we can ask them some questions, probably figure out competency, probably find out character through some references. But chemistry, will they fit on our team? And some things you might look for, right? Some chemistry items might be, hey, we're passionate people here. And if you're gonna thrive here in our culture, then you're gonna be passionate about the cause more than a paycheck. I actually had that said before. Hey, we're more about the opportunity and passionate about what we do more than the paycheck that we get. In some organizations, that's the key, right? Teamwork might be a big chemistry item. Like, you have to be able to work well with others, period, full stop, in our organization. Family might be a chemistry item. Fitness, I've worked in an organization where fitness was a high value as a chemistry item. If you weren't physically fit or you didn't have a value for it, you weren't going to go to the highest places of leadership in that organization. You can say that's right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. It just is. And so know what it is. Fun is one. Courageous is another. And change could be a chemistry item. You have to be okay with changing constantly. So that is how you define the ideal leader in your organization, which will help you develop leaders much faster in your organization. And I hope that helps you. Hey, drop in the comments any questions you have about competency, chemistry, character in your organization. If you have those items defined, put them in the comments. I'd love to see how different every organization is in how they define what's the priority in character, competency, and chemistry. Thank you so much for watching this video, and download my book for free below. The Executive Leader's Handbook give you tons of tips on how to increase your skill set as a leader. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.